for today's class is to understand management information systems from the perspective of the different applications that are normally gotten out of them. We already started understanding what are MIS. We also looked at the enterprise systems, which are normally found in different organizations. They serve different purposes. And so today we are just picking up from where we left the previous time to understand these different applications, how they work, and in perspective, we are looking at management information systems. And when we are looking at management information systems, and specifically enterprise resource planning systems, we are doing this in order to understand when you have a certain kind of an organization, which system would you be able to go for, or which one can be of use for you. So that is one of the goals of our today's class, just to understand these different application systems or the different systems which are found in the organization. We will also, by the end of this class, we need to understand what it is meant by business continuity planning, BCP. When we are talking about business continuity planning, why are we even looking at it? When we are looking at new systems which are being implemented and the change of how business processes are being carried out, it is important to understand the business continuity. Once you change from maybe a manual system of operation and then you get into the automated system of operation, then how are you going to transition? How are you going to ensure that your business continues smoothly? So that is the reason why we want to look at business continuity planning. And then we will also look at supply chain management. Supply chain management is important because when we are looking at an organization, it will always be supplied by another entity or by another business, be it raw materials, be it products or services, then it is also supplying to its consumers. So there is that chain of the movement of these items as they are being added value into them. And it is very important, once you implement these management information systems in your organization, it is very important to be able to understand how your system is going to affect that supply chain or that chain of the movement of items, be they raw materials or products which you are selling and services. How is it going to be affected by the change of your system? So those are the the three things. And the fourth one I would like us to accomplish today is to understand the strategic business objectives. And when we are looking at the strategic business objectives, is important because they are going to help us understand how businesses can position themselves. They are important because they are helping us to understand how businesses can be able to position themselves when implementing information systems so that they can understand or so that they can be able to maximize on the value addition provided by these information systems. So that is the purpose for our today's class. And without wasting any more time, let us just pick it up and we understand. So when we are talking about an ERP, one of the important things you need to understand is going to be like an integrated MIS. That is the simplest way I can put it. And what do I mean by an integrated MIS? It is that system which is going to combine all the functions of the organization, and it is also going to be working in real time. And what we mean by real time is like as things are happening. So that is why we call it an integrated real-time cross-functional enterprise application, which is going to provide a framework to support all the internal business processes of an organization. So think of a business organization that has the finance department, the human resource department, logistics department, maintenance and management, and sales and distribution, quality management, materials management, manufacturing, and strategic planning. All these are different departments which have one objective, which is to help the organization make profit, to help the organization realize its objective. So all these departments need to work together, because there is going to be exchange of information, there is going to be exchange of data, there is going to be communication between these different departments we find in this organization. So in order to ensure that communication is smooth, in order to ensure that there is proper correspondence in terms of providing data and information, that is why we need an ERP, a system that is interconnected, a system that has cross-functional operation to ensure that every department can get information from the other. If there is a department, for example, if it is human resource, we require information from finance, how much this person needs to be paid. Finance will require information from human resource. Maybe this person went on leave for several days, which needs to be deducted, or he needs to be given his leave allowance. All of that will come from human resource, but it is going to finance. So instead of having files which can move around or which can be lost, or data from one department being carried with a flash drive, then moved to another department, in order to avoid that, we can have a system that has all those departments in one. And that is what we call an ERP, an enterprise resource planning system, so that it is able to exchange this information in an easy and smooth way for the operation of the organization. So the reasons why we need ERPs, one is because business integration and automated data update. You need to be able to integrate activities which are taking place. For example, you need, if it is a manufacturing organization, it needs to know when raw material is running out so that they can restock. You don't need to provide so much material in your store, because it is going to bring about another cost of holding costs. When you store this information, this raw material, a lot of it is going to incur a lot of costs. So you just need enough for your business. And that is why we are talking about business integration. And then automated data update. Whenever new raw material comes and you're entering the new material you have brought, that information will be covered even in maybe the production department or the manufacturing department. Yet it was being managed by materials management. The manufacturing department will be able to know that there is enough material. At the same time, when manufacturing department is consuming those raw materials, they are being deducted from materials management, so that materials management is able to know when do we need to maybe buy more material. Think of a supermarket whereby the sales and the sales department is connected with the store department, whereby if you have sold maybe 2 kg of sugar, that commodity is going to be reduced by 2 kg of sugar from the store. So the department in the store is able to reduce, and then the revenue is added. So the finance department is affected by adding the amount of 2 kg of sugar. That is what we mean by integrating and automated updating. So data is updated automatically instead of being fed manually, where you could find errors or somebody could even forget to update, and that can bring about problems because the decision maker will not be able to know if this item has run out and we need to restock. Then another reason why we need ERP is the linkage between all core business processes and easy flow of integration. Just like I have explained with the case of a supermarket, when these items are running out, then you can be able to restock. And that brings about the easy flow of integration of activities, because activity in one department will affect activities in another department. So if one is not performing properly, then others are going to be affected automatically. Then there is another reason, which is flexibility in business operations and more agility to the company. When we are talking about flexibility and agility, it comes in this sense that It is very easy for operations to run smoothly or flexibly when the concerned parties get information right on time, and they will be able to work without a lot of pressure, and that brings about agility or speed of delivery. Imagine when somebody is being told, we need these raw materials coming from maybe Mombasa tomorrow morning, and compare that with a person who got the information a week ago. They are able to prepare, they are able to get this raw material on time, and they are able to deliver without any pressure. So speed and convenience becomes better. Also, better analysis and planning capabilities, just like we have explained, that somebody, when they get information right on time or even before the deadline, they are able to easily plan, and they are able to even negotiate and know how to go about the activities in a better way. Then there is also the aspect of critical decision making. Somebody is able to make decisions as quickly as possible, and it will not bring about a lot of pressure. Then competitive advantage. If generally you are able to make decisions quickly, and you are able also to make your plans effectively, then that gives you a competitive advantage. When you are buying under pressure, the seller can be able to take advantage because you have nowhere else to go. But whenever you have time, you can even shop around, know who is selling at a better price. You can negotiate because you are not under pressure. And through that, you are able to gain a competitive advantage. Also, it enables the use of latest technologies so that you can be able to do market research, market intelligence, and through that you have an advantage as well. So, what are the features, or what are the things to look out for you to be able to know this is an ERP? So, an ERP will have the feature of accommodating variety. That is one of the features of an ERP. And good ERP will be able to integrate a variety. What does that mean? It is very easy, or it is possible to be able to have several alternatives. Instead of having one way of doing things, you have alternatives, or of making comparisons between the items you need. Think of a supermarket, for example. They are able to accommodate a variety of, if it is loaves of bread, the ones they are selling, they are able to accommodate that. If it is other items, think of milk, think of these different products they are selling in a supermarket. There are a variety of each of those, and that ERP is able to integrate or accommodate all of them, because it is the user who is commanding the ERP on what to contain and how to contain it in the system. Then there is also seamless integration, meaning that this system, if you want to integrate another aspect of the system, it is very easy. Let's say, for example, you started with sales and a point of sale system. Then it is very easy to integrate also the store or the back end. It is also very easy to integrate the human resource, because each user needs an account so that they can be able to work with the system. So it will be very easy for you to integrate such a section to the system. Also, resource management. The system is able to manage the resources that you need. You think of the users you have, or the employees, which you can easily allocate to different areas, to different activities. Also, we are talking about integration of management information, meaning that information is flowing through the organization, because the ERP has been implemented across the organization. Information can flow from the transactional level to the management level and to the strategic level. So that is what we mean by management information, meaning that there is that smooth flow of information depending on which level and what the user needs. If it is like a salesperson who is working at the operational level, maybe they are looking for details of what was bought by this consumer and when did they buy it and for how much, those details they can get. If it is a manager in the middle level, is trying to see, do we still have these items on stock, or how much was sold in a week? So they are able to get that summarized report. If you are talking about the senior level manager, they are able to retrieve information in a graphical format to give them a picture of how sales have been in that particular branch, or how the sales have been in their organization. So that becomes very easy. And then supply chain management, which we are going to look at. In terms of supply chain, we are looking at this system being able to integrate with other systems from other organizations. Because like we have said, an organization is not going to work in isolation. It will be getting raw materials, it will be getting supplies from other organizations. And it is also selling to other organizations using different business models. Imagine when we are talking about Lipa na M-Pesa. Imagine when we are talking about paying using a credit card. All those are other systems which also need to be integrated. So another feature you would look out for is that supply chain supply chain management. And then we are looking at integration data model, meaning that we can integrate different data models within our system so that it is able to work smoothly. Then, what scope would an ERP cover? An ERP would cover the finance function of an organization. And when we are talking about finance, we are looking at financial accounting, we are looking at managerial accounting, we are looking at treasury management, asset management, budget control, costing, and enterprise control. It also covers the logistics function of an organization, meaning that there is going to be planning on how to buy maybe the supplies, the raw materials, and also how they are being consumed, and also how they are being moved, if it is items, how they move within the organization, and how they are going to be sold. It is also looking at, or it has the human resource function, where it is able to manage personnel, is able to train this personnel, is able to develop in terms of giving them the requisite skills they require or the know-how they need in order to function well within the organization. Then it also covers supply chain, that is inventory control, purchase and order control, supply scheduling, planning, and all of that. And then workflow, just showing how activities are supposed to move around in the organization. We are looking about tasks and responsibilities. You know, who is supposed to do what, who is supposed to be in which location, which position is held by who, and job descriptions, how people are supposed to work. If you're in this section, how is the description of your job in that position, and so on. So those are the areas any basic ERP will be able to cover. And then it will be varying from organization to organization. Because when it comes maybe to an academic institution, for example, you will find that it will always or without any problem integrate the function of learning management. So in an education institution, you may not have, or you may have all these other activities, but learning management, whereby there is the posting of notes, posting of lectures, posting of assignments, exam management, marking and grading. That is another function you would find if an ERP is being implemented in an academic institution. Think of a health institution. You would definitely find things to do with patient being received, checking of temperatures and all of that when you enter the hospital, then diagnostics, we are talking about testing and all of that. That is a function which you would find being implemented. So we are just looking at the general functions, but what I am saying is this. When you go to different industries or to different application areas, you will find that ERP varies in terms of its implementation. I hope there we are together. So what are the advantages? We are looking at reduction of lead time. When we talk of lead time, is that time you have in preparing and making decisions. So lead time will be improved because, or will be reduced because you are getting all the information at your fingertips, or at a click of a button, you're able to get all the reports you need, the information that you need to make decisions. We're also looking at another advantage. We are saying there is the reduction of cycle time. Instead of requesting, that information is available to you. So it is very easy for you as a manager to make decisions or to access the information that you need, which would have taken long, maybe for you to send an email and somebody doesn't see this email for quite some time. By the time they see it, the time you needed to make decision has already run out. Then there is also customer satisfaction. With an ERP, the customer is better satisfied because they are served with ease. Even the customers themselves can easily access information as they need it and can be able to also make decisions regarding maybe buying or regarding maybe doing business with this organization and such. Then there is also increased flexibility and quality and efficiency. There is also improved information accuracy and decision-making capability, like I had explained. If you were to do it manually, or if you have a computerized system, but these systems are per department, meaning when you get output from this one department, you're going to put input to another department manually. Then it is very easy for errors to occur. But when the information is flowing seamlessly across departments within the system, it reduces the chances of errors occurring, and then it means there is accuracy and decision making is going to be better. Then there is that one-time shipment of information when the information you are looking for, and since we are saying it is going to be real-time information, you are going to get it as it is happening. There is also improved resource utilization in that the resources are already centralized. Whatever resource you need is within the system. Then there is also improved supplier performance because, like, if, for example, it is in an organization and somebody made a requisition, that requisition, once it has been approved, it will go directly to the supplier from the ERP. Like we are talking about now, supply chain connection, we'll be looking at it. They will go directly to the supplier and they are able to make the supply as quickly as possible. So that also improves the supplier performance. There is reduced quality costs. And then there is also quick decision making. Forecasting becomes better, and you can even optimize on your operations because the system is able to give you the analysis of your performance. And then there is better transparency when it comes to using an ERP. Disadvantages is that it is a bit expensive and a lot of time is taken in implementation. So when you are looking at organization-wide implementation of an ERP, like we have seen, it affects very many departments across the organization. So it is going to take a little bit more time to be able to integrate all these departments, to be able to update the information once you have implemented the ERP, and that will, as it is taking time, the cost is also increasing. That is why we are talking about it being expensive. Then there is difficulty in integrating with other systems. So since this ERP is self-sufficient, or it is covering all the departments or the entire organization, then these other systems within the organization will have to be removed so that it works as the only system within the organization. Then because it can't be integrated or connected with the other systems. Then we are also talking about the risk of implementation failure. So since this ERP is being dependent across the organization, if there came a time or it happens that the system has failed, the ERP is not working, then the entire organization goes down. And that is why we are talking about the implementation failure. Difficult in implementation change. If you want to perform any adjustment or change within the organization, then it is also going to be very expensive. Then and also very difficult in terms of the changes you need to make. Then also there is the risk of using one vendor, because if you are depending on this vendor and they are not able to implement it, or they are not able to support you as an organization, then it becomes very risky because you depend on somebody or you depend on another institution for your operations to be smooth. Then let us look at customer relationship management. When we are talking about customer relationship management, it is part of an ERP, but it can also be a standalone system whereby it is only concerned with managing the relationship between the organization and the customer. And here, when we are talking about customers or when we are looking at the customer relationship management, a customer is any stakeholder who has a stake in the organization in terms of they are interested or they have bought an item or a service within the organization. So, and as a customer relationship management system is an enterprise application. And the reason why we are calling it a module, because sometimes it is embedded into the existing ERP. And its work is to manage the company's interaction with the current and future customers by organizing and coordinating sales and marketing and providing better customer services as well as technical support. So that is what would become a customer relationship management system. When we are looking at customer relationship management, what exactly do we mean? We are talking about the process. When we are talking about the customer relationship management, we are looking at the process of acquiring, retaining, partnering with selective customers to create a superior value for the company and the customer. So that system will always have the functionality of how do we acquire more customers. So it has the aspect of sales and marketing. The system will be having a functionality or an objective of retaining these customers. So it means that there needs to be a feedback mechanism. So that system will always be able to have a feedback mechanism where the customer can communicate about their experience in using the company product or service. They also need to be able to complain. They also need to be able to get what we call after sales support, which we are talking about now, having better customer services with technical support. Then the system will also be able to create the superior value. And the superior value comes when the customer is satisfied and they are able to talk good about the company and they are able to recommend this company to other potential customers. So that is why we are talking about the system being the integration of marketing and sales, customer service, and supply chain functions. So all of these functions are going to be integrated to become the customer relationship management system. So why do we need the customer relationship management? So that we can keep track of present and future customers, to identify and target the best customers, to let customers know about the existing as well as new products and services, to provide real-time and personalized services based on the needs and habits of existing customers. And this is where now technology becomes of importance, because you would find that the system is able to track what was the customer searching for on the internet, and it is able to also give other related items within the organization which the customer could be interested for. So it also provides superior services and consistent customer experience, as well as implementing a feedback system. So in a CRM, the feedback mechanism is very important because it is the only way an organization will be able to know whether it has served the customer well or not. If there isn't a feedback mechanism, it would be very difficult for the organization to know. So the scope of a customer relationship management system includes the marketing function, customer service and support, retention and loyalty. Think of a supermarket where they are giving you the loyalty cards. When you go and buy, wanakuwekea bonga points, and you can one day go and shop with those points, or you can use them in another way. So they have already done you, they have retained you. You will always feel that you are compelled to go to this particular supermarket because when you buy from there, you get those bonga points. So it becomes very easy. Then there is also storefront and field service. You know, when you go to the store, or they have a web portal where you can get customer support. They also move around maybe in the field to go and check the products which customers have bought, and they always get the experience, and they can also give them support outside there. So all of those activities are included there. It also has another arm whereby it is for cross-selling and upselling, as well as telesales. You know, if you have bought this one item, somebody would be calling you and asking you, can you also go with this other one, because these two go together. That is what you mean by cross-selling. Upselling is telling you that you've been buying this, but there is also this premium product which has better services, which has better value, you know, such. So all of these are items you will find within the scope of customer relationship management. Then we move on. In terms of advantages, it will provide better customer service. It discovers new customers. There is also the cross-sell and upsell, so it means more sales. There is also helping the sales staff to close deal quickly. There is also the advantage of making call centers more efficient and the simplification of marketing and sales processes. In terms of disadvantages, there is also a record loss which may occur. If you do not serve this customer very well, they can use the same channel which was supposed to gain them to make your business go bad. Then there is the overhead cost, because when you're trying to serve this customer better, or when you're providing these after sales services, then there is also the cost which will be involved in such activities. And then giving training to employees is an issue for small organizations. So you will find this with big organizations, because small organizations, they can be financially constrained. But now with the use of technology, it becomes very better, because if you think of some simple customer relationship management systems, you can think of the social media like we know it. Just a Facebook page, which doesn't cost anything, but you are able to reach your customers with new products. So a Facebook page or an Instagram page can be able to give the marketing function very easily to your potential customers. Customer service and support, you know, any question they ask, you're able to give them answers. They can also have the retention and loyalty in terms of, if you like our page, or if you recommend our page to 5 people and they like it, we will give you a t-shirt, or we will give you this and this product, or you will come and get this one for free. That has been happening. So you can also become a brand ambassador, and through that, there is the aspect of retention and loyalty. It is also providing the aspect of upselling, cross-selling, and telesales. So it only misses that Facebook page or Instagram page will miss only maybe the field service. But all these other functions have been fulfilled by use of a Facebook page or an Instagram page for the organization. That is why you find that so many organizations are having such pages, so that they are able to reach their customers more and better in a very cheap way. Then we come to decision support systems. And when we are talking about decision support systems, is the interactive software-based application which is able to, or which enables managers to make decisions out of the information they are collecting within the organization. So that is the basic explanation about a decision support system. A system that is going to enable a manager make decisions by trying to collect and integrate information within the organization in terms of the business processes, such as office automation, transaction processing system, and so many others. So this system uses summary information, exception reports, patterns, and trends, so that it can create an analytical model, and that analytical model is able to help the manager make decisions. So it may not give the decision by itself, but it can give a picture of how the decision is going to be looking like. That is why we are saying a DSS helps in decision making, but does not necessarily give the decision by itself, but by helping or by giving a picture of what is going to happen through the data that has been collected. So these systems, they compile useful information from raw data, from documents, personal knowledge, and business models, so that they can identify and solve problems, and as well as make decisions. So that is what we mean by decision support systems. Some decisions are programmed other decisions are non-programmed. When we talk about programmed decisions making, then we are looking at selecting a reorder level when you are dealing with maybe an inventory management system, because that can be a DSS. So that decision is programmed like this. Maybe it is in a supermarket and you normally buy 500 kgs of sugar to sell. So, or you buy a ton of sugar to sell. So you can have your inventory system having a programmed condition that if sugar levels reach 500 kg, I need to reorder more sugar. So that is a programmed decision whereby it doesn't need to check. But whenever that level of sugar is reached, it will just reorder automatically. So these decisions, the way it comes, because we are saying they are basically automated and generally routine work, whereby these decisions have been made severally and the decisions are following some guidelines or rules. Like that condition is a guideline that, like, if sugar levels reach 500 kg, reorder for another ton. So that goes on like that. Then we also have the non-programmed decisions which occur in unusual or non-addressed situations. So for example, it may be a new decision that is something you have not experienced before, or these decisions are not going to be following any rules. Like, since it has not been made before, there are no rules which have been created for you to be able to know what decision to make. Also, there could be decisions that are made based on the available information. So, like when COVID came, many organizations had not experienced such things like lockdowns or working from home, and so the decisions which they were making, they were new decisions. They did not have any rules to follow, and they were only based on the information available that lock down the country, go and work from home until when the president says that you can go back to work. So out of those, you see, those decisions will be made based on the manager's discretion, instinct, perception, and judgment. It is something you have not made before, but you need to make it. So that is why we are talking about discretion, just based on your feeling or maybe instinct or perception. What do you read from the environment and such things? So decision support systems will involve both programmed and non-programmed decisions, meaning that they will be able to evaluate the rules which are there. And once they evaluate rules which are there, they will also evaluate what is being given from the environment or how are things are like. And then they can be able to make decisions. So attributes or characteristics of decision support systems include adaptability and flexibility, high level of interactivity, meaning that there needs to be that exchange of information until you have all the information you need so that the system can make or can guide you on making decisions. Then ease of use, efficiency and effectiveness, complete control by decision makers, ease of development, expandability, and support modeling and analysis. So these are the characteristics of DSS. You can look at them. Then the benefits, that is improving decision making and the efficiency of it. Then also increasing control, competitiveness, and capability of futuristic decision making. So you will find that these systems are normally used by middle level managers and the strategic level managers because they are helping them to focus or to determine how things are going to be like in the future. That is why we are talking about the capability of futuristic decision making of the organization. Then facilities facilitates interpersonal communication, meaning that you need information from all these other personnel. So there is going to be that kind of input from the other personnel, and that creates the interpersonal aspect of communication. Then we are also talking about encourages learning and training, as well as, since it is mostly used in non-programmed decisions, it reviews new approaches and sets up new evidences for an unusual decision. And then it helps in automating managerial processes. So a decision support system will include a database management system, and this database management system, or the database, will be there to collect all the data that is needed. And the data will come from a variety of sources, such as newspapers, online data services, other databases like financial, marketing, and human resource. So you need that repository of information so that it can be able to have a lot of data. All these computerized systems depend on data. So as much as you need to collect as much data as possible so that you can have enough to be able to do what we call data mining, or going through the data to find if there are patterns, to find if there are some connections within this data, and then they can help you to make decisions. So that is one of the components of a decision support system, that is a database management system. Then it will have a model management system, whereby now this is a modeling tool, or a tool that is used for analyzing the data. So once you have collected the data, you will need the other component of analyzing, or trying to filter, or trying to look for those patterns and connections. So that is what we are calling the model management system, which is a tool for checking or for looking for those connections and patterns and correlations. Then after that, we have the support tools, which are like the online helps, pull down menus, user interfaces, and graphical analysis, which are enabling the user now to be able to interact with the system. So we can call it like the interface with which the user will interact with this system. So when we look at these decision support systems, they are of several types. We can have text-oriented DSS, whereby this one contains only textual representation of information, and it is going to make textual decision guidance. So it allows documents to be electronically created, revised, and viewed as needed. So it is only text data which will be collected, then it will be analyzed, and will be used for making decisions. Then we also have database-oriented decision support systems, whereby they are going to contain data that is highly organized and structured so that it can be able to create relations. Then we have spreadsheet-oriented decision support systems, which contain information in spreadsheets, and it will allow the creation, viewing, modification of this knowledge or this information so that it can give some kind of a picture, and it will also allow the system to execute self-contained instructions. Like now you can be able to filter, you can be able to sort. If you have been able to use maybe the Excel spreadsheet, you can be able to filter information, you can be able to categorize the information, you can be able to sort the information according to whatever criteria you are looking for, and that can give you a picture of the decision you need to make. Then there is also the solver-oriented decision support systems, which are based on a solver or are based on an algorithm or a procedure which is written for performing certain calculations and a particular program type. So you can create a script, or there are those created scripts with which once you feed the data, with which once you put this information, then the script has an algorithm or a step-by-step order of how this solution is going to be arrived at, and then it executes that and gives you the answer that you are looking for. Then there is also rules-oriented decision support systems, which follow certain procedures adopted as rules. Then there is also compound decision support systems, and these ones are built using 2 or more of the 5 structures. So it is going to combine several of these so that you have an hybrid system that can be used. And then there are these types, which I will leave for you to look for, because they are also adopted depending on the functional. So we can have accounting for financial data or for numerical data. We have information analysis systems, which are based on reports generated. We have status inquiry systems, which are based on schedules or jobs to machines and so on. Then there is model-based systems, and they are of different types. Then we have knowledge management systems, and these are systems which are used for managing knowledge. So think of manufacturing organizations, research organizations. This is where you will find such systems, whereby these systems are dealing with knowledge or personalized information, state of knowing and understanding, an object to be stored and manipulated, a process of applying expertise, a condition of access to information, and potential to influence action. So that is where you find the scope of knowledge. So knowledge can be that personalized information. It can also be the state of knowing and understanding. It can also be an object to be stored and manipulated, or it can also be a process of applying expertise. Also, a knowledge can be a condition of access to information, as well as the potential to influence action. So all of these are aspects of knowledge, and these systems deal with such. So where do we get this knowledge from? We can get it from the internet or an intranet. We can get it from data warehouses or knowledge repositories. We can get them from decision support tools, groupware for supporting collaboration, networks of knowledge workers, and internal expertise. So a knowledge management system comprises of a range of practices used in an organization to identify, create, distribute, and enable adoption to insight and experience. So that is the basis of a knowledge management system. It is that kind of a system which will be having practices or will be having the aspect of storing information in terms of identifying it, creating it, representing it, and then distributing it to enable the adoption to insight and experience. So, the purpose of a knowledge management system is to improve performance, to create competitive advantage, to bring about innovation, sharing of knowledge, integration, and continuous improvement by driving strategy, starting new lines of business, solving problems faster, developing professional skills, and recruiting and retaining talent. So, how are the activities carried out in a knowledge management system, or the activities which are involved in knowledge management? One, you start with the business problem or identifying the business value to be delivered. Then once you have identified the business problem, you identify what kind of strategy you are going to pursue in order to deliver this value or in order to solve that problem. Then think about the system that is required from people and processes point of view. Then after that, you will think about what kind of technical infrastructure you are going to be using. And then after that, you can implement the system and processes with the appropriate change management and interactive staged release. So when we are looking at management of this knowledge in an organization, you find that at the lowest level of the organization, we are dealing with document management, just raw data as it is being collected. But then at the management level, this information is created, then it is shared, and it is used for decision making. But at the strategic level of this organization, we are looking at enterprise intelligence, whereby apart from just the information that has been created here, you're also including the experience from the industry and know-how of these managers, because they also have experience in terms of how they have worked. Once these two have been combined, you create intelligence. Then let us briefly, or I will leave you to look at the content management system, and be careful to look at it, because I will get a quiz from there, or there will be a question from there. But when we are looking at content management system, we are looking at systems which are used for creating content, storing content, indexing content, searching content, retrieving, publishing, archiving, revising, and managing the content from end to end. So have this in mind. A Facebook page you have, which you use to upload information there. So it helps you create content. Think of a YouTube whereby you have a camera and then you can shoot a video, you go and edit it, you render it, and then you upload on YouTube. So you start from creating the content, you store it, you index, all of those activities. Think of that. YouTube, maybe Facebook, maybe WhatsApp, TikTok, all of those are tools or platforms which are enabling people to create content. And that is why we are saying a content management system allows publishing, editing, and modifying content, as well as its maintenance, by combining rules, processes, and or workflows from a central interface or a collaborative environment. So that is what we mean by a content management system. And like we have seen, the content could be either text or data, it could be documents, it could be movies, pictures, phone numbers, and or scientific data. So how do you do content management? You start with designing the content template, like the web administrator designs a web page. So you create your own web page or you create your own blog. So that is where you start. Then you create the content blocks. Like for example, you're going to create content blocks in terms of pictures you're putting. So you're going to take the photos and then you design them to be like the way you want them to appear in the web portal. Then you position the content blocks in the document. For example, the web administrator positioning content blocks. When we are talking about content blocks, think of it as the pages. Maybe you have your website whereby you have about us page. You also have our stories page. You also have a contact us page. Those are the content blocks we are talking about. And then you are going to order the content, and then you are going to post it there, you retrieve it, view, and update the content. So what are the advantages? These are the advantages. Look at them. And then I will leave the executive support system, which helps in market intelligence, investment intelligence, and technology intelligence for you to look at, as we are looking at the features of the executive support systems. So these ones, I'm going to leave them to you. And then we come down to the business intelligence system. But before we continue with that, I would like to know, is there any question? So if there is no question,